in the chapter before, and we talked about the content of the self-concept. How do I know what I like, what I don't like, and so forth? And it would be foolish not to mention, at least shortly, the importance of our social identity, right? The importance for filling our likes and dislikes, our behaviors of who we are and how we think and whether we like each other or not, by not mentioning group membership, by not mentioning identity. We would talk much more about identity in a later part of our course when we have a whole session dedicated to identity, but I feel like it would be foolish not to mention it. So according to social identity theory by Teichwell, we have personal identity and social identity. So personal identity is everything that makes me kind of unique, that makes me stand out within my group. Okay, but social identity is exactly opposite. It is what makes me a member of a group, what basically takes off the uniqueness of myself and what makes myself a member of many, many groups. And you can think about it as like, okay, as much as there are like different aspects of myself, there are tons of different groups I'm a member of, right? We talk a little bit in a second about the groups I'm a member of, and there are just a few, but you can think about it yourself, right? Your gender, your ethnicity, your religion, that you're studying psychology or sociology, and so forth. The things you like, the music you like, and so forth. There are many, many groups, and they all shape the way you behave and the way you see the world. So here's a study by Citron, Wong, and Duff that is here mentioned, and it kind of in that study they find that for about half of Americans feel like that for them the most important part of themselves is being American. I think it's the most important aspect of who they are, that they are Americans. And that tells you a little bit about the importance of belonging to a group. I think for me, I never really felt that comfortable with being a member of a group, yet you can't really escape that, right? And I think I'm fortunate enough that I'm coming from a somewhat privileged group, at least in the perception of most British people. So I'm German, I'm male, I'm a parent, I'm a scientist, I'm a psychologist, I'm a football fan, and many, many other things more. I think it's really interesting, and all of you have experienced that, when there's this process where we kind of switch from our personal to our social identity. When people think, oh, you're from Germany, and then they want to talk about Germany, and they make me a member of the group, and now I have to somehow explain the whole of my group. I have to defend my group, or I have to kind of endure the praise I get for being German. So there are many different aspects, right? A male, sometimes I have to kind of think, oh, but how do men think about it? How do men perceive that celebrity, or how do men think about this incident or that? Or as a parent, I have to sometimes like, oh, how is it to be a parent? How is it to be a scientist? How is it a psychologist? How is it to be a football fan? And depending on the context you are, do you engage in a process of depersonalization, where you're stripped of your uniqueness, you're stripped of your personal identity, and your social identity becomes extremely salient. And that can be sometimes good, and we seek many areas in our lives where we enjoy being part of the group, and we kind of seek that to make our social identity more salient, but there are other aspects where it is a little bit less pleasant.